Once upon a time, nestled at the foot of a majestic mountain range, lay a peaceful little village. The people who lived there were kind, hardworking, and deeply bound by trust. In this village lived a young boy named Leo. Every single day, Leo was given an important responsibility: to lead the village's sheep up to the mountain pastures to graze, and to protect them from any hidden dangers.
To an outsider, it seemed like a poetic, dreamlike job. But to an energetic, restless boy like Leo, sitting alone from sunrise to sunset, watching sheep slowly chew grass, was an absolute nightmare. Day after day, the crushing silence and loneliness began to eat away at his mind. He craved attention. He craved excitement, a spark of drama to shatter this unbearable stillness. And then, a reckless, dangerous idea flashed through Leo's mind. He thought to himself, what if I stir up a little fun? Standing up abruptly, he ran to the edge of the cliff overlooking the valley. He took a deep breath, cupped his hands, and screamed with all his might. "Wolf! Wolf! There's a wolf attacking the sheep! Help me! Please help!" His desperate cries for help echoed violently through the valley. Down in the village, the farmers in the fields and the blacksmiths at their anvils froze. Without a second thought, they dropped their tools, grabbed sticks, shovels, and pitchforks, and ran frantically up the mountain, gasping for breath. They worried for the sheep, but most of all, they feared for the young boy's life. But when they reached the summit, out of breath, there was no wolf. There were only the sheep, grazing peacefully, and Leo rolling on the grass, laughing hysterically. "You should see your faces. You actually believed me. There is no wolf." The villagers stared at each other, their faces flushed with exhaustion and anger. A village elder sighed and warned him, "Never play with people's lives for a joke, Leo." They then walked back down the mountain in disappointed silence. The thrill of that wicked prank was intoxicating to Leo. He felt absolutely no remorse. Only a few days later, the heavy cloud of boredom returned. He craved that feeling of being the center of attention again, longing to see the villagers panic at his command. Once more, as the sun began to set, Leo's voice ripped through the quiet evening air. "Wolf! The wolf is back! This time it's real! Please, save us!" Down in the village, the people stopped. They doubted him. But out of sheer goodness of heart, they told one another, "What if it's real this time? We cannot abandon the boy." They panted and sweated as they climbed the mountain a second time. But the only reward waiting for them was Leo's arrogant, mocking laughter. Their kindness and trust had been trampled upon yet again. An old woodcutter pointed a trembling finger at Leo, his voice shaking with disappointment. "A lie is like a knife, Leo. If you cut the string of trust too many times, it can never be tied back together. No one will ever believe you again." But fate has a cruel way of teaching lessons. As darkness completely swallowed the valley, a thick, icy fog rolled over the mountain. The air grew deathly still. Suddenly, the sheep became restless, letting out terrified, anxious cries. From the pitch-black shadows of the dense forest, glowing, blood-red eyes pierced through the dark. One pair, then two, then an entire pack of starved, ruthless wolves stepped out. They bared their razor-sharp fangs, saliva dripping from their jaws, as they slowly surrounded the helpless flock. Leo froze, his entire body paralyzed with sheer terror. This was not a joke.
Shaking uncontrollably, he scrambled up the nearest high tree, tears streaming down his face. He screamed until his throat bled. "Wolf! Wolf! A real wolf! Please believe me, I'm not lying! Help me! Help!" His agonizing screams echoed down into the village. But below, the villagers only shook their heads. They sighed and told one another, "It's just that foolish boy playing his old tricks again. He wants us to run up there so he can mock us. Just ignore him." Not a single soul stood up. Not a single weapon was grabbed. The village remained completely, deafeningly silent. Up on the mountain, Leo could only watch in absolute horror and helplessness as the wolves savagely tore his flock to pieces. The agonizing cries of the dying sheep blended with the ferocious snarling of the beasts. The boy buried his face in his hands, weeping in overwhelming fear and deepest regret. The next morning, as the faint, cold rays of dawn broke over the valley, the villagers walked up the mountain to check on the flock. The sight that met their eyes left them speechless. The sheep were gone, leaving behind only the grim, heartbreaking remnants of a massacre. Leo sat curled up at the base of the tree, his eyes swollen from crying, his body shivering from the morning cold and the weight of his guilt. He was physically unharmed, but the livelihood of the village, and most importantly, the trust of the people, was gone forever. The wolves didn't eat Leo, but his soul was shattered by the monsters born of his own lies. My friends, this ancient tale is not just a story for a shepherd boy. It is a profound truth of life. Even when a liar speaks the truth, no one will believe him. Trust is like a piece of paper. Once it is crumpled and crushed, no matter how hard you try to smooth it out, it will never, ever be perfect again. Never trade your integrity and the trust of others for temporary amusement.